Morning world, episode 3 of Hear Me Out, coming at you live and direct right now on January 7th, 2021 at almost 10 o'clock in the morning. I hope everybody's doing good this morning. Just another day out here. I know we all saw that crazy aftermath from what happened at the U.S. Capitol, that craziness and madness, so I hope everybody's staying safe. I hope everybody's still quarantining. I hope everybody's still living their life. Today's topic is going to be a very a personal one, a very personal topic, but a topic of truth, a topic of honesty, and a topic that needs to be addressed, but there hasn't been any changes made to it. So I'm going to start with a few names, just a few, just to get the morning started with this correctly. Black head coaches, minority head coaches in general. Why aren't there more minority coaches, and why are they getting fired left and right? And why is it that minority coaches have to go start from the bottom and they're never heard from again? But their contemporaries are just brought through the ringer constantly. This is something that I think just hasn't been addressed. Something that I think needs to be addressed, put out there. Not just because I'm black and I feel something, I'm a black football coach and I have to feel some type of way, but it's something that I think if we have the conversation and we put it on the table, we can get it through the door and we can be perfectly fine and get it fixed. Okay? So we're going to start with current head coaches in the NFL. We have Mike Tomlin and we have Brian Flores. Okay? Only two. We only have two. Two people. Now, let's go down the list of former black head coaches. Fritz Pollard, Tony Dungy, Marvin Lewis, Hugh Jackson, Denny Green, God rest his soul, Lovie Smith, Mike Singletary, Herm Edwards, Ray Rhodes, Jim Caldwell, Art Shell, Todd Bowles, Vance Joseph, Steve Wilkes, Romeo Crennel, Raheem Morris, Leslie Frazier. This is all in the NFL. Former black head coaches. We got more former black head coaches than we do current black head coaches. One of them just got fired. I gotta add one to the list. I gotta add one to the list. To former. Anthony Lynn. Now, I know you're gonna sit here. Some of you guys are gonna say, "Oh, they just couldn't get the job done. Why is everything gotta be about race?" Race is everything. In this day and age, if you are too blind, too stupid, and too oblivious to admit to it, maybe you're part of the problem. Okay? I am sick and tired of people talking about, we have the Rooney Rule. Well, there's the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule says it gets you guys interviews. What? What am I supposed to do with an interview? Yes, I sit there, but there are the powers that be that we don't hear from and we don't see that pull the strings, and they don't want to see us be successful. There are more black head coaches in college, Division I, and I'm going to go down the list right now too. There's two black head coaches. Let's remind you, two black head coaches in the NFL. Mike Tomlin, Brian Flores, Pittsburgh and Miami. Okay? Really good coaches. Mike Tomlin is the longest tenured black head coach. He's been there since 2008. 2007, 2008. Okay? So he's been there almost 14 years. Okay? Brian Flores is just getting on his journey. Now, black head coaches in college. Excuse me. Dino Babers, Syracuse. James Franklin, Penn State. David Shaw, Stanford. Willie Taggart, a personal favorite of mine. I love me some Willie Taggart. Florida Atlantic. Herm Edwards. Kind of funny. Herm Edwards and Marvin Lewis are at the same school. Mel Tucker, Michigan State. Mike Lakesley, Maryland. Thomas Hammock, North Illinois. Jimmy Lake, UW. Jay Norville, Nevada. Carl Durrell, Colorado. Now, I'm no mathematician. I ain't saying I'm some genius, but I know that's 11 compared to 2. And there's one coach that's in waiting that I've heard about for the last 3 years. And that's Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy right here, ladies and gentlemen. Eric Bieniemy has been up for several jobs, and they just won't hire him. Now, I want you to understand, if you are the most qualified, and you have had the most success within the last 3 to 5 years of any offensive coordinator in the league, why can't you be offered the job? But yet the same coaches get cycled through every single doggone time. We look at Dallas with Mike McCarthy. What has Mike McCarthy done other than having the good old boy network help him get jobs? Okay? What about, I don't know, Jay Gruden? Jay Gruden obviously not qualified. Adam Gase, damn sure not qualified. Okay? I see guys like Mark Trestman get a head coaching job. Dennis Allen get a head coaching job. I can go on the list of many white coaches who can constantly get recycled through. But nobody says anything about it. When it's a black head coach, we get tossed out. Look at, give you an example. Look at Steve Wilkes. Steve Wilkes was hired to Arizona a couple years ago, before Cliff Kingsbury got there. He was there for one season after Bruce Arians retired. Steve Wilkes gets one win. I understand, 1 win, 15 losses, if I remember correctly. They get the number 1 pick. They picked Josh Rosen, but they got Josh Rosen in the draft. They let him go. They fire Steve Wilkes. They bring in Cliff Kingsbury, who had a losing record at Texas Tech. What was like 41 and 57, I think. I'll have to double check that. But let's go with 41 and 57 at Texas Tech. No winning record, but he was the quarterback guru because he worked with Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes. He got the job at USC as offensive coordinator after he got fired from Texas Tech. 3 days later, he gets hired as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. What the hell is going on? Was my first response. What the hell is going on here? Nobody seems to want to speak on it, but we are hired as the scapegoat. We are hired to get them through the tough patch. As we establish culture, we establish dominant cultures, they get to coach. Look at Tony Dungy and Chucky. Look at Tony Dungy and John Gruden, okay? I'm not a big fan of Tony Dungy. I've never really been a huge... His style and my style, totally different, but he got the job done, okay? Tony Dungy coached the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they first got Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, great John Lynch, great players. They just didn't have any offense. But he established the culture. They fire Tony Dungy. He ends up going to Indianapolis, having a great career with Peyton Manning. But John Gruden gets traded to Tampa. He wins a Super Bowl. This has happened countless times where brothers have had the opportunity to make something out of nothing and they end up getting let go. Now, I'm not saying every situation is like that. I'm not saying every situation is we establish the culture and then we end up blowing it and then someone else comes in and they fix it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we don't get the same duration as our contemporaries. You look at a Vance Joseph. You look at a Steve Wilkes. You look at a Todd Bowles. You look at guys now. And one thing I will add in there is then there's guys who have way too long of opportunity. And Marvin Lewis is one of them. Marvin Lewis never got out of the first round. And Marvin Lewis was there from 2003 till last season. Make it make sense, people. Now, we mentioned the Rooney Rule. We talk about the Rooney Rule. We talk about how it gets us interviews. We talk about how, it's done so much for African Americans and minorities. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. We read the definition of said Rooney Rule. Policy that requires teams to interview ethnic minority candidates for head coaching jobs. What is that going to do for me? I already know you're not going to hire me, but you're giving me a handout because I'm black. You're letting me in the door, but then you're kicking me right out, and you're not going to let me back in because you think I'm more than qualified. More than qualified to be the head coach of this program. It's a damn shame, people. It's a damn shame that the playing field is not level. It's a damn shame that all these names that I've listed that are former head coaches, solid men of character, men of great degradation, and men who are great representatives of the game, kicked to the curb. Now, I'm not a person who wants to just you give me a piece of the pie. I don't want a piece of the pie. I want the recipe. That's what I want. Okay? Prime example. I'm gonna give you another example. Okay? I was defensive coordinator at a local high school here where I'm from, here in Washington. My offensive coordinator in high school, he hooked me up with the job. Okay? That's another thing we'll get into is black folks, when they do get the job, not working really, not playing nicely with other black people. Okay? So he gives me the job. He brings on some of my old teammates, bringing in the youth. I like that. I like when a coach who knows his time is not going to be forever, he wants to bring up the next generation. Now, I was the one that was in one of the highest positions as defensive coordinator of varsity. I was okay with that. I was happy. I was excited. I was like, yes, let's do this. The administration fires all of us because of our age. Now, at the time, I'm 22, 23 years old. Okay? They didn't communicate with us. They didn't talk to us. They just said you're fired. It's pitiful. And it took me a while to understand the politics of the game. It took me 2.5 seconds to realize there's more to this business than the X's and O's. You've got a whole black staff working at this predominantly white school. They didn't like it. Too powerful, too strong. And not saying we were bad representation of it. We had great. It was great. What I liked the kids. I liked what we were establishing. I liked where we were going. But the administration didn't like that. And that was my first experience of not even experiencing the Rooney Rule. I didn't even get in. I didn't even interview. I did interview. I believe I did. I already had the job. But they wanted to just sit down and meet me and feel me out. And I did everything right. I showed up in a suit. I showed up nicely. Answered all the questions. But I could tell something was off. Because we had two other coaches. And they were held over from the last regime that was there. Okay? One of them was the lone white guy on the staff. He ended up becoming the head guy. Now, pardon my French, but I can tell fuckery when I can see fuck. I can tell fuckery when I see and smell fuckery. I can tell. I've been through the ringer long enough, and I've been doing this thing since I was 18 years old, 17, 18 years old. This game is not this. I'm 26 now. This game has not phased me one bit. It doesn't. Nothing surprises me anymore. You probably wondering, well, Phil, you're so cold and you're so harsh. No, it's not. It's not that I'm cold or harsh. It's just I don't not surprised no more. I'm not gonna let the game hurt me. The same way Anthony Lynn doesn't let the game hurt him. The same way I hope Eric Bieniemy, when he gets the opportunity to become a head coach, he doesn't let none of this stuff phase him. There's too many times where we get jobs and we don't watch out for each other. We don't bring up the next group. We don't try to secure the bag for everybody, as everybody say, secure the bag, secure the bag. There's too many times when we get brothers into positions and we end up just keeping to ourselves. Who do we trust? We need to trust each other. But I know it's so hard when you're afraid that your own will do you wrong in this business. This business is cold. I tell you what, it's a cold business we in. But it's frustrating to see African American coaches get to the highest level in our business, and just get pushed down. It's sad. Now, what can be done to fix the Rooney Rule? I do believe that the Rooney Rule does need that we keep the Rooney Rule. Interviews get us in the door, but I do think it's going to take these old bastards who are the head coach, who are the owners, general managers, to die, like a Jerry Jones, a Dean Spanos, who else? Who else? Just, these old owners, they're not looking to give opportunity. They're stuck in their ways. It's to die. For there to be more minorities, and I'm not just talking black. I'm talking also Mexican, Asian, there and different races. For there to be that equality. So I don't know how we're going to do it. I know that it's going to take time. It's going to be a long process. But it needs to be fixed. There is a systematic attempt to get rid of African Americans in this business. We're always looked at as the angry black coach. Well, what about the white coach that with the military background that sits there and threatens kids or has kids do militaristic training and ends up dying? Nobody want to talk about that. Nobody want to talk about the white coaches sitting there fucking the kids in the shower at like Penn State, or holding or abusing their wives, and they still get to keep their jobs. And they keep secrets, like at Ohio State. And yes, I am talking about that. People act like they're too afraid to talk about it. I'm going to say it. I'm going to talk about it. You got coaches fucking kids in showers. You got coaches beating their wives at home and then telling the head coach. And then the head coach keeps it a secret. You've got all these other situations that are going on. And yet, brother gets fired when you brought him in. You brought him in with no chance of being successful. You leaving him with a roster that's depleted, but you expect him to win. I can't even. So hopefully, within the next 10 to 15 years, we'll see some change. Hopefully, we'll see more minority coaches. I'm not saying it's got to be dominated by it. I'm not saying we have to have every position, but I'm saying it would be nice for us to at least have more than just two. So, anyway, that's gonna be the end of the episode. This episode 3 of Hear Me Out. We're gonna do another one tomorrow. Be sure you guys check out the channel. Make sure you guys also like, comment, and subscribe, and then get on the Noti Gang. Make sure you guys hit that bell on my channel. That way you guys are aware of when we do post these episodes. It's been a really good conversation we had today. I hope you guys have a great day. Be great. Make sure your heart is pure, and make sure you guys are willing to be successful today. All right? Take care. Peace.